Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Hoops HQ show. Seth Davis along with Andy Katz. The Super Bowl is over. Mazel tov to the Seahawks. No more talk about football. No more talk about halftime shows unless it's Red Panda at a basketball game because we are high tide in college hoops, Andy. And before we spin ahead, we're coming off of a really exciting weekend in college basketball, headlined by that thrilling win by North Carolina over Duke, a huge comeback and a three-point buzzer beater by Seth Trimble to win the game for the Tar Heels. They had led the game by 0.4 seconds. So here's my question for you. Let's spin it ahead for North Carolina. Now, they play at Miami on Tuesday. That's going to be a tough turnaround, but it wasn't that long ago that things were so bad with North Carolina after getting swept in the Bay Area by Cal and Stanford. We had people talking about whether Hubert Davis could even survive the season. They haven't lost since, and they just beat their rival Duke. Do you believe that North Carolina has officially turned things around?
Yes. And first of all, they also lost to SMU. So they sort of lost all the newbies. Look, first of all, I never thought they were going to make a change like that. He's one of their own. I could never see that happening. Not with Roy, by the way. Roy Williams is there, bucket hat and all. He's got a presence. I never believed that to be the case. Let me put that aside. Number two, this wasn't about and isn't about them catching Duke for the ACC title. It's about them getting in the NCAA tournament and getting right at the right time. Seth Trimble was out for a significant amount of time with that weird weightlifting, mishap. Caleb Wilson still getting comfortable. Visar. I mean, the whole pieces were still finding time to fit together. They have. They obviously got off to a slow start. They made a great comeback. Regardless what happens in Miami, I'm not worried about them. I think they're going to be in the NCAA tournament. I think they will have a single-digit seed. I don't know if they're wearing white or blue yet, but I think they're going to be in. And once they get in, they could be trouble.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Caleb Wilson obviously was fantastic. Again, the big change since that performance in the Bay Area is at point guard, where Hubert Davis promoted the freshman Derek Dixon into the starting lineup. Kind Evans only played 6 minutes against Duke. Dixon hit those 2 big three-pointers. Remember, he also hit a couple of big shots when they beat Kentucky early in the season. He doesn't have to be great, but he does have to be serviceable, and I think that he's gaining confidence. That was a big-time change. So after the game, you had a huge, not one, but 2 court storms because they had to put time back on the clock. John Shire had some things to say afterwards. This is an old topic of conversation. How do you feel about the whole court storm situation? Not only what happened in Carolina, but court storms in general.
Well, look, Seth, I've been a part of this for over 20 years. And there was the anniversary actually on February 7th of one of my famous ones that I was involved with when Nick Robinson of Stanford hit a three-pointer at the buzzer to beat Arizona at Maples Pavilion. Famously, Jim Plunkett's wife actually had a folding chair, clip her leg. You had Tiger Woods was there with his then girlfriend who became his wife. I mean, it was a who's who. And it was a crazy scene. I was in the middle of that one. I had one at Clemson in North Carolina that I got swallowed up. Last week, I got swallowed at Minnesota, at Michigan State when they stormed. Here's the deal. It's pretty simple. I do love the atmosphere. I love the euphoria. But unequivocally, there has to be 2 lines, not one, because one's not good enough. 2 lines to allow the opposing players, coaches, staff, officials to get off the court. And I will tell you, this may sound ageist, but I've been at these arenas for decades. The people running security are too old, okay? They are too slow. It is not your best and brightest. I'm sorry. That's the truth. They have these people coming out. They are volunteers, a lot of them sometimes. They're doing this as a side gig, maybe a retirement job. That's not who should be out there. You should be dead sprinting. You should have young people. You actually probably should have students, okay, who have this is their job to run out and protect the opposing players, coaches, officials. It is ridiculous how slow it takes these people. I do like the enthusiasm. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but that has to happen first. I'm fine with the fines because they're not getting the job done. It's the wrong people trying to secure those people.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all that. I mean, I've always been opposed to court storms. To me, the principle is the players and the coaches and the refs have earned the right to be on the court. The fans have not. I've conceded to the point where I'm fine with it as long as there's some type of secure protection. In this case, there wasn't. How there wasn't is kind of unconscionable to me. That you have to know in a big game like that, there's going to be a court storm. North Carolina was clearly not ready. I know John Shire said, one of my staffers got punched in the face. I don't think that happened, but you saw the video of a fan throwing a water bottle. I think that's what he's referring to. It shouldn't matter. They shouldn't be in that position. So huge turnover by North Carolina for not providing security. Guys our age are calling other people old. That's kind of a big statement, but that's the reality. They need to be fit. I have a very basic principle, which is that, the players, the officials, and the coaches have earned the right to be on that court. The fans have not. And I think we're very fortunate that, really bad things haven't happened already. So I'm of the mind to allow for the court storms, but it is incumbent upon the home university to protect those players and coaches. John Shire said one of our staff members got punched in the face. I don't think that happened, but we saw the video of somebody throwing a water bottle and somebody getting hit. I think that's what he was reacting to. And it shouldn't matter. They should feel safe being able to get off the court. And the fact that North Carolina was not ready for that situation, to me, was unconscionable. Good on the ACC for finding them. If we want to get rid of court storms, the fines should be a lot bigger. And believe me, once you hit these places in the pocketbook, they will eliminate the court storms. All right, last thing real quick. Speaking of court storms, you were there again in Minnesota when they beat Michigan State. But then we had the incident with Jeremy Fears, and then another moment in Michigan State's win over Illinois where Brad Underwood asked for an appeal for a Fears trip. Is this going to be a problem for Jeremy Fears and Michigan State moving forward?
Unfortunately, yes, because as I saw it in practice, the day of that game, it was discussed. I mean, Niko Medved knew about it. And so every Big Ten coach is going to let the officials, or remind them, I should say, hey, watch out for him. We'll see what would happen then in the NCAA tournament. But I think for the rest of the Big Ten season, he's going to really have to watch it, because the officials are going to be looking to see if he does anything and are going to be quick to review it the rest of the season and in the Big Ten tournament.
And listen, give credit to Dusty May for bringing everyone's attention to this. There's a heightened awareness about this. Keep in mind, by the way, that when they looked at the play in the Illinois game, it was because Brad Underwood requested the appeal. The call was not overturned. He was not given an F1, and therefore Illinois lost a timeout. So these other coaches better be careful about putting too much attention on this. So anyway, lots of good stuff to talk about. We're going to be joined next up by Kentucky coach Mark Pope here on the Hoops HQ show. Welcome back, everyone, to the Hoops HQ show. We are very pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats, Mr. Mark Pope. Coach, thank you for being on the show. Things are going better for the Cats. I have to start with that video that everybody saw that went viral about you meeting your daughter at the airport. Tell us that story briefly and what that experience was like for you.
Well, just special family moment for sure. I mean, all of us that are blessed to have children can relate to the fact that you especially daughters, man, sons, whatever, but daughters are like magic. And I'm blessed to have 4 of the most extraordinary human beings walking around on the planet that are many versions of Leanne in their own way, right, with their own special talents and skills. And so, Avery had been gone for almost a year and a half, serving people in El Salvador and growing in her relationship with, with her faith and with Jesus and becoming even more extraordinary person than she had. And, we're limited in contact with her. We only get to talk once a week is part of the program. And so, it just really special moment for us as a family. We're really close. And so you spend all that time, a year and a half, feeling like, there's just you're down a starter. And it's just magic to have her back. So it's been really special. It was a really special night for us. And then, we were blessed, our other 2 daughters that don't live here were able to fly in for the weekend, and we got to spend some time together. And there's nothing better, man. There's nothing better. If you start with family, in your life with whatever that might look like for you, if you start there and finish there, then the rest of it is icing. I really believe that, and it's just the most important institution on this planet.
Hey, before we get to Kentucky, Mark, and we'll talk a lot about obviously everything going on there, because you brought that up, Seth, and I think it's important for us to just end it here. And I'm sure you saw what happened at Oklahoma State with BYU and Kevin Young. Whatever they said about the official and and using the Mormon faith in a negative light. And I covered BYU in the '90s. I saw it. I heard it on the road when I would cover BYU. People get very negative about the Mormon faith, and it should not be tolerated. The Big 12 came out and fined Oklahoma State. I'm just curious what your reaction was to that and what you had to deal with when you were the head coach at BYU.
Well, I don't think you're gonna like either of my answers, but I kind of feel two ways. I really do. I feel like it's unfortunate that we, um, you know, I love all the craziness. I love all the craziness that surrounds sports. I love fan bases, and I love how passionate they get. I love it. It's probably unfortunate that we're so much in personal and identity attacks. That's probably unfortunate. But it just is. It comes with the territory. That's what we do, right? So, there's a whole vibe on that where it's just like, you know, do we, maybe there are some lines that you wish we wouldn't tread on, right? And they actually don't mean anything. I think so often we just kind of choose the lowest hanging fruit to try and attack somebody just for the sake of attacking when we like, it's just insanity. On the flip side, um, I also think that, you know, r I grew up in a time where sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt me. I think we've lost something there too. I think there's some real truth to that in the sense of like, I'd like for us to be protective and sensitive as a society and maybe more thoughtful with the things we say, but I'd also like to make us bully proof. Where it's just like, "Hey, you know what? You can say whatever you want to me. That actually doesn't affect me at all." So I kinda have 2 different vibes on that, and I think in general, I think if both of those ways to look at this are probably really important. Um, I think we should be more cognizant of what we say and not just be belligerent about saying things that have absolutely no meaning that none of us are gonna be proud of saying. It actually is a poor representation of on us as human beings. And also on the flip side, be like, people say whatever they want about me because I know where I came from and I know who I am. Listen, I love Deion Sanders. I quote him all the time. This idea of you didn't make me, so you can't break me. You didn't build me, so you can't kill me. God established me. Those are true words, man. And I think that's also an important part of this is understanding like, let's be sensitive and cautious to what we say. And let's also understand that we're building great, in this case, great young men that words are not going to affect them. I think both those things are important.
Really well said, Mark. Appreciate that. All right, let's talk about the Cats because, like, when you said about your daughter felt like we were down a starter. If you were only down a starter at Kentucky, it would have been a lot easier for you this season. You're playing better, and this is my theory. You tell me if I'm anywhere close. You had this situation with Jalen Lowe. Is he in? Is he out? Obviously, best case scenario, he's healthy, ready to go. You shut him down to the season. It seems like we're kind of close to either a shutdown or very limited experience with Jaden Quaintance. The question of whether he is in or out. Cam Williams is done for the season. The best case scenario is that you have everybody healthy, but it seems to me that at least knowing who you have and taking away the uncertainty over that and your game planning, your practice, your repetitions, just your mindset, it seems that things are more connected and consistent. And now we have more of a defensive identity and a lot more confidence. Am I anywhere close to what's happening inside the locker room?
I would say emphatically yes, only because that's all we have left. So we're going to own it. This was not the scheme. Was not how this was conceived at all. But that's the beauty of a season. That's the beauty of a journey is adjusting and figuring things out and guys stepping up and guys maturing and guys leaning on each other. And I've said this a lot over the last several weeks that, you know, we don't look anything like what we plan to look like. With all that said, I feel bad for you if you're missing what's happening here right now because it's awesome. I love stories. I love redemption. I love overcoming. And what these guys are doing right now, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I told them before the game against Tennessee, really, this is only about us. Like, this is the story you guys are writing right now. And it's a great story, man.
What is it about those huddles when you guys are down that this team believes and you and the staff believe they can come back? Because it probably will happen again.
Yeah. You know, I think you earn belief, and our guys have just found a way to do it. Our guys have, you know, our guys have endured a lot this season, and a lot of it being you know, like we put ourselves in holes too. Like it's not like we're victims. We're not victims at all. But we've certainly endured a lot, and I think our guys have got to a place where they look around the huddle and they're like, "We can do this." They look around the huddle and be like, "Hey, I know what Ortega's bringing right now. I know what Colin Chandler can do. I know he's bringing everything every time. I know that this Malachi Moreno, I'm watching him grow before my eyes. Jasper Johnson is growing up. He's not the same player he was 2 months ago." You know, Mo Diabate is going to go save us in some non-traditional way by making some energy play that nobody else in the country can go make. I think the guys are starting to understand each other, and with this new look, kind of identity that we have, I think guys are starting to believe. And I think the guys are also been like, hey, there's probably not a lot that's going to happen in a game that hasn't happened to us before, and we're not really scared of it. There's probably a lot of things that people could say about us, but there's nothing that they haven't already said last week or the week before or 3 weeks ago. So we know we can handle it. And so let's go. And when you come out the other side of those difficulties, man, you come out different. And I'm telling you, it's super cool. And these guys have a little bit of faith in each other.
Oh, it's going to be fun. All right, Mark, before we let you go, you haven't ticked off enough people this season, so I want to ask you this question. You ready? Give me your all-time starting five for Kentucky basketball.
Man, you're asking me the impossible question.
Yeah. Well, let's take you off of it just to ease the
Yeah.
pressure on that decision.
Yeah.
So give me 5 other guys not named Mark Pope.
There you go. Well, I was just going to say, of course, you know, it's always just me. You know, listen, you're not going to like my answer, but I'm going to give you true answers. One of the beautiful things about this program is been the right guys at the right time. It just is. It's the right guys at the right time. And so you take a guy out of their generation or out of their team concept or out of their coach player relationship, and they're just it's not a standalone for me. Like, and I say that, and this is not deflecting. Guys, when this, you know, I'll get off my high horse in 2 seconds, but when we get away from this, from embracing the power of a team and the fact that that's how individuals are elevated, I just think we miss the beauty of the game. And so I know it's not fun media-wise to not, you know, because what we do is want to debate about this guy or that guy, but it's just like, I'm a true believer, man. And so I just, you know, we've been blessed to have you know, a lot of the greatest teams that have ever played this game here. And when you take those teams apart, I just don't think they're the same. I don't think the individuals are the same without the team.
Okay. It's a bit of a dodge, but it was very eloquent. And
if you ask me, best top 5 media guys, clearly Seth Davis and Andy Katz in the top 5 all time.
Clearly. See that? See, now it's an acceptable.
I
was about to rip your answer, and now I'm going to say that's an actually very good answer if you want to turn around.
And you know what,
Andy.
Seth? There could be a Senate opening, a governor opening in the years to come in Kentucky. Mark's the guy right there. Great political answers.
I know he's the best. Mark, look, we know how busy you are, and we really appreciate the time. Best of luck the rest of the season, and especially in Gainesville on Saturday. And don't be a stranger, okay?
All right, boys. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Mark Pope, everybody. We'll be back on the Hoops HQ show. And welcome back to the Hoops HQ show. We're going to finish it up with a couple of hot topics. First of all, the BYU Cougars, who were cruising along at 16-1 and 4-0 in the Big 12. They have now lost 5 of the last 6 games, including a pretty bad one at Oklahoma State. Andy, I dropped BYU out of my top 25. How concerned are you about the Cougars?
I am concerned, and I dropped them out of my 25 as well. I kept them, I think, at the back end of my 37, which is 37 at large bursts. That's why I did that. Look, it's 4 losses, all against Big 12 schools, all except for that Oklahoma State game, which was on the road against teams that could compete for the national championship. So I'm not crazy raising the red flag because the schedule was brutal. Now let's see, can they take care of business going forward when they get to the rest of the Big 12 in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah,
we'll see.
I mean, the schedule is brutal, but the reality is they didn't play like a super tough non-conference schedule, and I think that now they're being exposed, especially on the defensive end.
Yes.
They're just not a very good defensive team, and that's going to be a big-time prop moving forward. Probably not as good as we thought. DeBonta's been great. He needs more help. All right, we got a couple of mid-majors who have been climbing up the rankings in St. Louis and especially Miami of Ohio, who, as of this taping, are still undefeated. Do you think that those teams can get at-large bids to the NCAA tournament should they fail to win their conference tournaments?
Well, all things are not created equal, and neither one of these schools are equal in that answer. Let's take Miami of Ohio first. Travis Steele says he tried to play anyone. That can't be true because there's plenty of schools that would have taken them on a one-way and just paid them money. This used to be the case with St. Mary's, Utah State, where they would never do it, and then they finally got the message. So they didn't play any power forward, period. If they lose in the final of the MAC, so 1 loss, I think they get in. But if they lose another time, yes, even with 2 losses, but that would be 2 MAC losses because that's who they play. That's all they play the rest of the way. Unfortunately, I don't think they do. The metrics are not there. It's unfortunate, but that's the pressure they're under right now. St. Louis played 1 Power 4 school, Stanford, lost late. Again, not a good schedule, but with St. Louis, the metrics are much better and higher, and I think they can afford a regular season loss, one, and then maybe a semifinal or final loss for the second. So that would be 3 total. I think that's their max to get in as an at-large.
Yeah, I agree. Both these teams did not play very good non-conference schedules. St. Louis at least played 2 quad 1 games so far. Their league helps. They're 2-0. Miami of Ohio has not even played a quad 1 game. So they're 0-0 in quad 1, only 2-0 in quad 2, and they have no quad 1 or quad 2 games remaining. The bar for them to get an at-large is very high. If they go all the distance, go to the MAC final and lose, they'll get in more because of optics than anything else. I think they'll probably deserve to get in and will get in, but it'll be one of the most fascinating bubble conversations that we've had in a long, long time. So that's the time of year we're in, folks. Yeah, go ahead.
Very quick, Seth. Just a historical note. The MAC has not received 2 bids since 1999.
Right. Well, like I said, it's going to be optics and politics as much as anything else, if that is the case. But like I said, we're in the middle of February now, folks. Bubble Talk, Bracket Talk. I want you to follow Brad Wachtel's Bracketology and Bubble Watch columns at hoopshq.com. All kinds of great content from me and Andy Katz, Alex Squadron, and our bevy of writers. We cover the women's side with Eden Lassie, WNBA draft, NBA draft. Great time of year for college basketball on the men's and women's side. Check everything out at Hoops HQ. Thanks for joining us on the Hoops HQ show. We'll see you next time.